the Chazon Ish continues and he says, person that has the ability to speak and hear but still lacks knowledge and understanding, this makes him into an animal no different than an ox eating grass. Now, this may offend some people, but in reality, when you really think about it, it's true. An ox has eyes, an ox has brain, an ox has legs. An ox has his personality. It may not be as difficult as yours, but quite frankly, sometimes they're easy to get along with than people. All of these different creatures, they have their personalities, they have their brain, they have their body parts and so on. So what's distinguishing a person from them? Chazon Ish says, knowledge and understanding. If a person actually knows how to use their brain. When the will of the creator of the world was to create a wise and clever human being for his world, and to appoint him over all the creatures, he planted the roots of wisdom in a man's brain and those of understanding in his heart, so that he may study and understand everything under the sun. Meaning that, in so many words, if a person does not use his brain in order to understand the creation itself, if he doesn't use his heart in order to determine what is the right decision and what's the wrong one, what is the will of Hashem and what is against the will of Hashem, that person, the Chazon Ish is saying, is actually less than an ox, less than an animal. Why? Because no matter what you think about an animal, at the very least they're serving Hashem. Why? They're serving their purpose. If it's a cow, it's giving milk, that's his purpose. If it's a tree that's bearing fruit, that's his purpose. If it's an ox that just runs up and down the field and eats grass whenever he feels like it, that's his purpose. That's what he does. He's waiting for the day Kadosh Baruch Hu decides to make him steak. That's it. That's his purpose. He's not going to say, no, I don't want to be an ox anymore. I want to be a dancer. Doesn't work that way. He's an ox, When a person that has the same tools that the ox has ears, eyes, nose, everything, but an additional tool of a wisdom, of a brain that he has and a heart that can decipher the difference between right and wrong, but doesn't use it, it doesn't make them like the ox. Actually makes them worse, because the ox is still obeying Hashem. This is why the Gemara Masechet Pesachim says that a person that does not do the will of Hashem, is not a shomer Torah and mitzvot, should not be allowed to eat meat. Why? The meat's better than him. That's what the sages say. The cow that you're about to eat, the nice steak, it's not fair that you're eating her. Why? She did the will of Hashem. She became a kosher steak. You're not being kosher. And if you notice, this language that's very, very strong and politically incorrect is actually common language for the sages. This is not my additions. My additions, you get my additions. My little improvs here and there. But in reality, what I'm telling you, this is word for word what they're saying. If they said it in a shul today, they throw him out. If Moshe Rabbeinu showed up to any shul in the world today, they throw him out. Why? You tell him Parashat Tochicha, Parashat Kitavo, they throw him out. Parashat Azino, they throw him out. If he told them half of what the Torah says, they throw him out. Say, no, Moshe, you're a fanatic. Yeah, but I'm Moshe Rabbeinu. I spoke to Hashem face to face. Moshe, not for this generation. Not for this generation, Moshe. So now, the Chazon Ish continues and he says, whoever possesses a sharp and keen mind can separate himself from the flow of a material life, elevate his thoughts above all that exists in this world, and look from above on all life in the lower world, and will see the element of wisdom installed in a man's created, in a man created of worldly material as one of the most puzzling mysteries of all. Now this is a very, very long run-on sentence. We'll try to break it up into a few pieces. Now, the Chazon Ish says, anyone that thinks they have a sharp and keen mind. Now first we have to determine what is a sharp and keen mind. Because you can say that some of the people of the world today, whether it's the successful people that you hear about in the media constantly, whether it's the number one investor of all time, Warren Buffett, or some of the other fellow investors like Carl Icahn and Eddie Lampert and all of these other famous investors in the world, if you hear these people speak, they're very sharp people. They're very sharp people. They have their heads screwed on right. Some of them at least from the rational perspective of certain things. But according to the Chazon Ish, they're complete idiots. And I'll tell you why in a second. Then you have brilliant people, scientifically, like the guy from Tesla. What's his name? Elon Musk. Elon Musk just launched a rocket into outer space a couple of days ago. They're showing it on every single commercial, infomercial, and every single news channel in the world is mentioning this rocket being launched because it's a big deal. Because NASA spent literally hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars for what he did for millions. Meaning in no comparison, he succeeded even more than them. So you can't be an idiot and do that. Rocket science is the highest level of science, at least according to the scientists. So he got a rocket into outer space. It's a very, very big deal, with people in it too, and it didn't blow up. It's a very big deal. According to the Torah, according to the Chazon Ish, he's a complete idiot. Not according to science. According to science, genius. Einstein. Most people that talk about wisdom, talk about intellect, what are you, an Einstein or something? It's like a figure of speech. What are you, an Einstein or something? Because Einstein, smartest guy of his generation, people think he's the biggest thing in the world. Torah says, moron. Fool. Complete. Average little kid, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, reads Chumash every day in school, much smarter than him. Why? They did not use their sharp mind. They did not use their possession that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave them for the right reason. They used it for material, whether it be for scientific or mathematical discoveries, uncover things that were already in existence, but nonetheless people didn't know and there wasn't common knowledge at the time, or invent something, or figure out a few things that other people couldn't figure out and take advantage of it and profit from it. The point being is that they had a certain amount of intellect and wisdom that allowed them to capitalize in a materialistic way. But that materialistic way has its limitations as far as when it comes to benefit. Because this world, no matter how smart you are and how rich you are, will end at some point for you, and for me, and for everybody else on this earth. Now, although the scientists say that according to their research and according to the death rate in America, the average age has increased as far as lifespan is concerned. Most people live above the age of 70 years old or 72 years old now, where it used to be lower. That doesn't really mean anything. If you look at the actual amount of people that die in the world every year, it's almost 60 million. And there's just as much, actually, if not more people, much more people, die below 70 years old in the world than above 70 years old. So that statistic is specific in the US. Around the world it changes. Either way, whether it's 70 or below or up, it ends at some point. No one lives forever. Which means that regardless of how much material and what material you toiled for, you have a limited lifespan as far as how long you'll be able to benefit from it. And quite frankly, the more material you have, the less you are able to benefit from it. If you have $1 million, it's relatively easy to enjoy it. Why? In today's world, especially if you live in America, $1 million doesn't go so far. You want to buy a house, you're pretty much out of money already. You want to buy a house in some other place that's outside of the Eruv, okay, so you have a house, you have some money left over. In the Eruv, you're out of money pretty much. Or most of it. That's it. $1 million doesn't go that far. So you enjoyed it, finished, that's it, go back to work now. It's not like the old days, oh, I can't wait to have $1 million, I'll live for nothing. $1 million, you're not even considered middle class. Why? You bought a house. Bought a house. And maybe, a few other things. You have, let's say, a couple $100,000 in a retirement account. That's it. That's it. In Wall Street days, if all you had is a net worth of $1 million, I couldn't deal with you. Sorry, not big enough. I need you to have $1 million liquid, meaning $1 million to invest with me, for me to talk to you. Why? I don't have time to deal with somebody that has less. Because it takes just as much effort to deal with somebody that has more than less. Why should I deal with somebody less? Doesn't make you a bad person, just business. But when it comes down to reality, that person worked hard for the $1 million, probably just as hard, if not harder, than the guy that made $100 million. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed him with $1 million. Now, the guy that has $100 million, believe it or not, has an impossible time benefiting from all of that money. Why? It's too much. How many houses can you buy? Okay, so your house is really, really big and really, really expensive. You bought, I don't know, $25 million apartment, you're on the ocean, you can see the equator for all I care. Whatever. You got the house. Congratulations. You're going to go in every room? You have 19 rooms in the house. You're going to sleep in every one of them? Every day a different room? After a while, the bed is a bed. After a while, the refrigerator, whether it's sub-zero or it's zero completely, it's the same thing. It's a fridge, and it keeps Coca-Cola cold. That's all it does, in your water. It's a fridge. Your oven, you spend $8,000 on it, or you spend $800 on it, it warms food, it doesn't warm food. It's the same thing. The water, whether it comes from some invention from Mars, where the thing is shaped in a way where it defies gravity, or it's something you bought from Home Depot for $60, water comes out of it. That's it. Mineral water, not mineral water, okay, so it'll be a little harder to swallow, but you'll swallow nonetheless. At the end of it, it's all the same. The toilet, by the way, it's still poop. It's going through the sewer system. Even if your toilet paper is made from gold. Same thing. At the end, the material, you can't enjoy all of it. And on top of it, when you have a lot of it, you don't have anything to do with it anymore. Cars, how many cars can you drive? Houses, how many houses can you live in? Stock portfolio, okay, believe it or not, this is actually a scientific fact. Blame the scientists, not me on this one. People get more stimuli, more dopamine in their mind from losing money than from gaining money. Believe it or not. There is more of an impact on the brain when they lose money in the stock market or in real estate or in other deals than when they make money. I'm not saying it's more enjoyable, but people are more attracted and become more addicted to the investment from losses than from gains. So now, okay, you have your stock portfolio, you have your 3, 4, 5 brokers that hound you every day with a new idea. How much joy is that going to give you? Eventually you just want to put them all on a do not call list and block all of them. You don't want anyone to call you, leave you alone. Vacation, what, are you going to live your whole life on vacation? How many vacations? Oh, go live on a beach and just stay there. Go in Dubai, they have a bunch of islands over there, just stay on the island. Meaning, at some point, you run out of stuff to do. Especially when you have a lot of money. And then you become depressed. Why? You've achieved all your material desires. And yet you haven't attained happiness. Hence the reason why the US government came out with a statistic about 4 or 5 years ago and said that suicide is a rich person's problem. Meaning over 70% of the suicides are by people that are middle class and higher class, not poor people. Poor people apparently don't commit suicide to the same rate. They still have hope that once they get money, everything's going to be okay. The rich guy knows, I got the money, it's still not okay. I'm jumping. It's a sad reality. Why? Because everyone is looking for spiritual satisfaction, meaning happiness, from material possessions. Impossible. It's like saying, I'm going to be satiated and be full by breathing air. It's not going to work. You may fake yourself to believe that for like 2-3 days while you're fasting, and then once you collapse, and they put you in a mental institute to say this system doesn't work, you're going to get the point. It doesn't work. You can't live from air. You have to eat food. Healthy, not healthy, doesn't make a difference. You have to eat food. So, you have a situation here where a person was gifted a brilliant mind. The mind of Einstein and the likes. Now that person that was gifted all these different, this high-level IQ, some people say that Bibi Netanyahu has a high-level IQ. I don't really believe it, but some people say he does. But it's possible. But people like him, they're very good talkers, make people believe that they're very smart too. But there are people that are verified smart, that have done something significant in their life to benefit society in the world. But yet the Chazon Ish says these people are fools. Why? They did not use this gift, this brain capacity they have naturally, to benefit permanently. All they did is they benefited from that gift temporarily. They invented some product that they sold and made billions of dollars that they could only benefit partially during their life. And the reality is that most of what they toiled for and they worked for will be benefited by people that are not even related to them. People that they care less about. Perhaps even some people that hate them. What do you think? All the grandkids like grandpa that was really rich? No, some of them actually hate his guts. But they'll still take his money. Yeah, this is my stupid grandmother's mother. I'll take his money though. You know how many of those kids I talked to when I was in the money business? They cared less about grandma and grandpa. But they took the money. They took the money. Why? Because money's green. Don't care where it came from. Once in a while you have a superhero who says, no, I'm not going to benefit from my dad's money. Yeah, until they're broke and then they benefit. But in reality, it's what happens. The guy worked his whole life, invented something, built something, did something, used his brain to do something that produced, but in reality he couldn't benefit out of it himself. That's what makes him a fool. Because that brain capacity, at the very least, should have given him the intellect to do something that he could benefit from permanently. Because everyone can do that, even if you don't have that gift of a sophisticated brain. Everyone can do that. How? Ask yourself, what is the purpose of my life? And do whatever it takes to go find it. Now, Rabbi Yaron explains, why is it that these people tend to not figure out the purpose of life? People like Steve Jobs die atheists. People like Stephen Hawking die atheists. People like Albert Einstein die possible atheist, possible kofel. Either way is no good. Hence the reason of why his brain is still being delivered from university to university and his body doesn't have any rest. People were so enamored by his brain that they cut his brain to pieces, and it's still in different labs in Princeton University and several other labs in the world. And the Torah tells us that until the body is buried, the soul doesn't have menucha, doesn't have any rest. Which means that as long as he's in this world, his brain is in the world, he doesn't have any rest. He doesn't have any rest anyway, but that's a different story. But that's midah keneged midah, it's measure for measure. Hashem says, you utilize your brain for things that are against me by telling people you're not really sure if God exists. Okay, I'll take that brain and I'll utilize it in a way for me to teach 100 years later that Hashem still operates measure for measure. So you see, Rabotai, Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't kid around. Scary, but it's reality. The king is not supposed to be our friend. So now, this person that was given this souped up brain doesn't utilize it to get benefit permanently. When an average kid, 6, 7, 8 years old, you tell him who created the world, he can tell you God. What else he said, it's going to take him time to learn. Rabbi Yaron says there's one thing that causes all of these people to make the same mistake. And that's one of the secrets that the Chazon Ish says. He says that the person that has the sharp and keen mind, what is the prerequisite for him to have this sharp and keen mind? Separating himself from the flow of material life. Separating himself from material. Meaning, It's not that you become some monk and you pretend like you don't eat and you don't drink and you don't have a wife. No. It's that you use that intellect, you use that brain power, you use that knowledge to control your desires for material possessions. Yes, there is delicious apples and oranges and steak and there's nice houses and there's ugly houses and there's nice cars and there's ugly cars and there's beautiful people and there's ugly people and there's all types of things in the world, and you're allowed to benefit from them. But you're supposed to use your brain and that knowledge and wisdom that you have to know, when can I benefit from them? When is it too much? When am I taking it too much? When am I becoming addicted to them? Am I living and they are part of my life, or my whole life is them? When all you think about is material possessions, you are part of the people that are fools. Why? Because when push comes to shove, this addiction to material will force you to become an atheist or a heretic or both. Why? Every one of these people asked themselves at some point, where did I come from? And when they got to their mother and their grandmother and they went through the whole synopsis of that whole equation, eventually they got to that starting point. Where did the world come from? And everyone knows that no matter how you dice it, no matter where you started from, everything has to have a starting point. Now, if I told you that this book just happens to be some pieces of paper that were on my table, and I also happen to have a jar full of black ink and a little bit of yellow next to it, and my kids ran around and ran into both of them and all splashed up in the air, and boom, it went on the paper perfectly and created the words that you see here, and now I'm reading them to you. Now all of you say, Rabbi, I think the crazy people have driven you crazy. We're going to take you to a nice place. No one will take care of you. No way. Why? No, not possible. But yet, there are literally millions of people that say that the whole world, not the book, came from nothing. The book, everyone knows, is not possible. You showed any kid, shows his teacher a drawing of some thing that they made, some little lion that looks like a dog. It says, "Oh, listen, Mr. Teacher, the ink fell over here and it drew a lion that looks like a dog." What do you think? Teacher said, "Go to the detention's office. We're not sure what to do with you." What are you going to do with a kid like this? So how come the teacher has no problem teaching his science class and telling everybody that the whole world came from nothing? Because of his addiction to material. What does the two have to do with each other? When a person goes down the argument, he goes through that tunnel into the depth of knowledge, and he realized that there has to be a starting point before his ima, before his grandmother, before all of the things. There had to be a starting point for not only mankind, for the world. Now whether you want to believe in Judaism or not, the reality is everyone has to believe in God. Why? Something had to precede the world. And of course, if you, as a creation, know that if you created the best technology in the world, let's call it the first time you've ever seen a smartphone. When Steve Jobs came out and said, "Listen, this is the smartphone," he didn't sell it like this. What did he do? He sold it in a nice box with instructions. Because he knew, if he just gave you this and you've never seen a smartphone before in your life, you wouldn't know what to do with it. This is before YouTube. This is before you could get everything you want on the internet. So in order to know how to use this sophisticated phone that looks like a piece of glass and you're not really sure why, he gave you an instruction booklet to know how to use it. And you as a creation know that if you do the same thing, you want to invent something new, you have to give people a manual of how to use it. So if the creation knows that it must provide a manual of how to use its creation, needless to say, your creator also knows that. So the creator of everything must have known that his creation had to have some type of manual, had to have some type of rule book. Everybody understands this logically, rationally, and they have no problem understanding it. What's the problem? The problem begins when they read the rule book, and that rule book tells them that their material addiction, their physical addictions are forbidden. That's when I have a problem with it. When I tell you, you are not allowed to have a new wife every week, or every time you go clubbing. When I tell you that you're not allowed to eat whatever you want. When I tell you that you're not allowed to go wherever you want. When I tell you you're not allowed to look wherever you want. All of these restrictions on what you consider is your joy and freedom in the world go against your logic. Wait a minute. Why should I listen to you telling me who I should date, who I should not date, who I should marry, who I should not marry? Why should I listen to you what I should eat, what I should not eat? Why should I listen to you who I should be with, not be with, where I should go, where I should not go, where I look at, where I don't look at? Why should I listen to you? So you're not listening to me. Listen to Torah. You listen to God in His instruction manual. You said you believe in God. Okay, then I don't believe in God. That's how they throw out God. Finished. Argument's done. Argument's over. It's not that he doesn't believe. He doesn't want to believe. And if someone doesn't want to believe, there's nothing you can do. And that's what happened to each and every one of these cases. When a person has a physical addiction, whether it be money or respect or food or intimacy or whatever it is, when they have some type of an addiction that they don't want to give up, automatically they say, no, I don't believe in this. Yeah, but it's written in the book. I don't believe in the book. Yeah, but the book is the Gemara. I don't believe in the Gemara. Yeah, but the Gemara is our Torah. Okay, then I don't believe in the Torah then. But you said you do believe in the Torah. Okay, I made a mistake. I don't believe in the Torah. But you said you believe in everything else though. Yeah, well, everything else makes sense to me. This doesn't make sense to me, so I don't believe in it. So 3,000 other things you believed in because it made sense to you. But the one thing that goes against your reality, against your desires, you don't believe in, therefore the whole thing is in the garbage? That makes sense? Not the way you put it. Not the way you put it. And that's what happens. That's why the Chazon Ish says that a person that wants to be able to use his sharp and keen mind has to first start with separating themselves from the flow of the material life. By doing this, he'll be able to elevate his thoughts above all that exists in this world and look from above on all life in the lower world. Here you see that the Chazon Ish looks at everything that's absent of wisdom, everything that does not have this clarity of who runs the world, why, who, what, when, all of these different things. Anyone who doesn't possess this, he calls them someone that's in the lower world, i.e. low life. That's what a low life is. A low life is something with simply no purpose. Now people may use it for different reasons to make fun of each other, but that's actually what it means. It's a lower life, it's a life with less purpose. A person that does not know what's going to be beyond this life, doesn't know what's the purpose of this life, is a person with a purposeless life. They just live to eat so they can have energy to go work. And they work to make money so they can buy more food. So they can eat it and have energy to go work again. Why? So they can make money so they can eat again. For what? So they can have energy to go back to work. So they can make money to eat again. In essence, a blender. A blender. That's what he thinks he is. That's a low life. That's a life with no purpose whatsoever. Doesn't necessarily make the person a mean person, an evil person, a murderer. It doesn't make them. But it is a common denominator for all of those people. So, a person that elevates themselves, elevates their thoughts above all that exists in this world, will look from above on all life in the lower world and will see the element of wisdom installed in a man created of worldly material as one of the most puzzling mysteries in the world. In so many words, he's going to be able to see how everybody has the same starting point. We all come from a woman. We all don't know what we don't know. We all don't know how to speak when we first start. We don't know how to walk. We don't know how to do anything really. But all of us grow up, grow older, go through life, go through our trials and tribulations, make our own mistakes. But yet, almost none of us want to learn from anybody else's mistakes. We all want to make our own mistakes. Your parents tell you, nah, don't hang out with those people. They're bad for you. Nah, Dad, they're my friends. Yeah, but you realize your old man knows what he's talking about. He's been in the world for 50 years longer than you. He knows who's good friends and who's bad friends. Even if they call you, no, he's my best friend. Yeah, he's your best friend until he stabs you in the back. He's my best friend. No, these are all my best friends, Abba. All my best friends. The old man's making fun of you in his heart. Why? He says, if you die with one good friend, you're lucky. Forget about best friends. One good friend, you're a lucky person. One good friend. People think that they need to have a lot of friends. Torah says otherwise. It's nice to have people that you get along with. But if you listen to the Chachamim, they'll tell you something that's